All right, let's get it. Trade recap, October 21st, 2025. I'm gonna get a sip of water real quick. Okay, it was sparkling water. Okay, so today was the first trade on the funded account, or not on the funded account, on the alpha account. I didn't take a trade on the top step funded just because I took a trade on the top step combine today, but I did take a trade on the alpha funded. So as you can see, no bueno. Let's get into today's price action though. So starting off the day here, we had relatively equal highs right here. Okay, we got this absolutely enormous opening gap. Okay, this line right here marks equilibrium of that gap. Wow. Okay, I'm just looking back at this. Like, that's so annoying. Okay, whatever. And then we had some lows right here. Okay, going down to the 1 hour time frame, same thing on ES, except we didn't have the opening gap, or it was small and filled in. Going over to ES, same thing, some highs right here, nothing really too important. I took both trades on NQ, they were pretty much the same trades. We had some hourly lows right here, then ended up getting swept, and some, what is this, Asia highs right here. Okay, so going into today's trading day, and I will go over everything. Okay, so market opens. We start coming down, but we're in a downtrend, but it is fairly choppy. Okay, it's a very choppy downtrend. It was not a clean move down to take out liquidity or any level. Okay, so what I was looking for is, actually we don't even need this. What I was looking for is for us to take out these lows, potentially create a SMT with ES, right? Because we ended up taking these lows right here, and ES was still all the way up there. Okay, but that didn't happen. So then I kept waiting. We came into that new, well, not new week, but we came into that opening gap, and from there, we get a 5-minute inversion right here. Okay, so in my mind, I'm like, cool. We got a 5-minute inversion. We got a sweep of liquidity both on ES and NASDAQ. We are past the macro window, right? So we're past 950. We got manipulation, we got inversion. Let's take this trade. Okay. So, two things I did wrong, which I'm actually not too mad about. Initially, I wanted equilibrium of this gap to get hit. Okay, so I'll show you right now. See where that line was maps out the equilibrium of this opening gap right here. And equilibrium, or 50%, the halfway point of gaps, is usually where, especially on the high time frame, where price really likes to retrace to. Okay, the higher the time frame, the higher it wants to retrace to that point. Okay, now I saw right here that we were close to it. Okay, but we didn't quite hit it. I thought it was good enough, which honestly, a lot of times it is. But I guess today I wanted to go all the way down and do exactly what I predicted it's gonna do, and literally just barely swipe this 50% consequent encroachment. 50% consequent encroachment. Okay. Worst part is, yes, if I took the trade on yes, I would have actually made bankroll. That would have been good, but I did not. And you know what they say, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I mean, I would have bagged. Ooh, let's see. It wouldn't even been that good because the risk to reward would have been kind of not it. Yeah, yeah, no. It would have been a negative risk to reward. So what I was doing here, okay, so I went in with 2 contracts on the funded and 2 contracts on the combine. Okay, so initially, combine, since it is a combine, it's not as important. I opened up the trade a lot more, both in terms of stop loss and take profit. And this was a little more risk adverse. Okay. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. Here's where I made my mistake. And you know what? I'm willing to do it again because honestly, this follows my trading plan fairly well. Okay. I went in with low leverage. I could have went in with even lower leverage. I could have went in with only 1 contract, especially on the funded, but I didn't. That's completely fine. It was still very low leverage. I lost $150 on a funded account and about $300 on the combine. Okay. Today was a losing day. This is what happened, right? So we came in, took out this gap. I'm also really tired. Been busy all day, but from there, I entered the trade, and what I was looking for is a bounce, and there you go, a bounce and a 1 minute breaker structure off of this 5 minute fair value gap that happened after we switched to bearish 5 minute order flow, right? We did not get that. Boom. Okay. Now, if that was to happen, I would have actually honestly added onto the position only in the combine just because how price looked beforehand. Okay, price was very choppy today, even though we were on a downtrend. Okay, but as you can see right here, same thing happened, right? After we got this final manipulation, the final manipulation that price wanted, I guess. Okay. Um, let's see. Boom. Let's actually get rid of this as well. Actually, no, we're not going to get rid of this. Let's get rid of this gap. We could get rid of this gap as well. And this one. Okay. So looking at this now, right, we inverse this 5 minute gap. And then on the same candlestick, we actually tap into this 5 minute gap. And we break out of it, right? We go into bearish 1 minute order flow to go into the gap right here. And then we break out of it by inversing this 1 minute gap. Okay. So I could have entered right here. Okay. The other entry could have been right over here. Targeting, I don't know, stops right here. I could have had the same targets. Targets didn't really matter. Targets didn't really bother me today. But they were my drawback because TP1 would have gotten hit if I didn't get manipulated out. But TP1, TP2, okay. Would have been a winning day. This one, no. Yeah, well, only TP1 would have gotten hit. So it would have been more like this. Okay. That's still $100 on the day with 1 contract hitting take profit because I would have went to break even afterwards. Wait, no. I don't even know. Honestly, today was probably going to be a break even day because after we came up all the way up here, I probably would have went break even on the trade. We already did our 1 minute retracement. You know, I don't know why we would have came down here. Yeah, this would have been a completely break even day. That sucks. Unless we took the trade on ES. And the trade on ES was a little cleaner, but I don't really like trading ES as much. Don't know why. I started off with NQ. I know how NQ moves a lot better, and maybe it's like a weird psychological thing, but I really don't like taking trades on ES. Just doesn't sit right with me. But whatever. Long story short, we got stopped out. Both trades. Here, same thing. Would have hit maybe TP1. Um, had the same risk to reward. It's just that it was just a little more enclosed, meaning stops were a little higher, take profits were a little higher. Take profits were all the way up here, or a little bit right before this liquidity right here, which is fine. But I'm not too mad about today. I didn't break any major rules. I stayed patient, waited for a setup, went in, put some risk into the market. Didn't work out my way, but that's why I go in with very low sizing when I do this, just in case it doesn't go my way. I don't really lose much. But if I did, and it went in my favor, it's 120 points, baby. So I don't know. I'd honestly probably take these exact trades again if they present themselves in future market. Maybe the only one thing I did wrong was even putting on a trade today after the amount of chop we've had. You know, after how ugly price looked earlier in the day. I mean, it's easier to tell right here on the 1 minute. I mean, it's just constant. It's a downtrend, right? Don't get me wrong. It's a downtrend, but it's a very choppy downtrend, and that's just you're asking for the market to manipulate you unless you have very good confirmation. But that's all right. Anyway, that concludes trade recap for today. This is my first trade since actually a while. Now that I think about it, yeah, this is my first trade in a while. This is my first trade after since the last recap. I know I said I was gonna try to do a recap of the market even if I hadn't put on a trade, but I I'm not gonna make an excuse, so I'm gonna just shut up. I just didn't do it. I haven't done it. I'm gonna see if I can try to keep doing it, but I will for sure make a trade recap every time I take a trade, though. So that's that. You guys have a good one.